Thank you. Mandinibulise nonke. As you have been told, my name is, they call me Biza Majuqwana. My real name is Bambihlelo Tikela Majuqwana. I come from the Eastern Cape originally, even though I'm based in Johannesburg now, where I work for Eskom. A brief resume of what I've done in the past has just been given, but it doesn't say much. I could not write everything. We are graduating here today, but just very briefly about myself. I actually entered, or rather left my matric, matriculated in 1981, and entered the University of Natal Department of Mechanical Engineering in 1982. Left without graduating to join the struggle against apartheid. And I spent a number of years, about 3 years, in the bushes of Southern Africa. Eventually, I was asked by Mr. Oliver Tambo to go and complete my studies. As a result, I left to complete my studies at the University of Southampton in the United Kingdom, graduating in 1989, after which I went further to do some postgraduate studies. And I returned to teach at the University of Pretoria. The last graduation ceremony, just a little bit of history again. When I graduated in 1989, my university was awarding Judge Albie Sachs an honorary degree during the same graduation. So that was a source of inspiration. Today you are having me talking to you, and it's 2013. 10 years from now you will be established in your careers. The basis of my speech is intended not only to inspire you, but to assist you to set a goal, and an unconventional goal. Not a goal that has been set by others before, not even by your parents. My parents wanted me to become a teacher. At the time, teaching was the only option that you could have. There were no engineers. From time to time, used to look at the Sunday Times and look at salaries there. The Sunday Times of the time and the Rand Daily Mail, and the salary for an engineer, professional engineer, was about, a good one was about 4,000 rands a month. And my father was earning 75 rands. And I told myself, I will not earn 75 rands. I'm going to earn more than 4,000 rands, which is why I wanted to become an engineer. But more than that, I observed a lot about life, especially how people conducted their own lives. I wanted to design things and make things work. Unfortunately, engineering turned out not to be entirely about design and making things. It is far more complicated than that. You do design, but you do other things, and one of those things is called managing. And managing is unlike most of engineering, where you can do calculations. You've got a Navier-Stokes equations, you solve that, and you've got your model, you've got your performance, more or less predictable on a computer screen. But management is very difficult to predict on a computer screen, which is why if I take you back to Eskom now, the Eskom of 2013, which this year is celebrating 90 years since its founding in 1923, one of the biggest of problems that we have is managing Eskom. The nature of the complexity, if we compare it to when Eskom started in 1923, when it was set up by Dr. Andrew van der Bijl, who was appointed in that role by Prime Minister Jan Smuts at that time. At that time, he was asked to set up Eskom. mainly to consolidate a fledgling power industry that was supporting the mining industry. He took up that role, recruited from abroad, brought back to South Africa, and he achieved the mission of setting up the Eskom that we have today. But before 1923, South African society had been through a lot of changes. As you know, in 1913 we had the Land Act that was passed by the Union government, a Land Act that was intended to take land and move Africans and give it over to white people. The purpose of that was to enrich and to impoverish at the same time. But alongside that, there was a developing industry. Society was urbanizing very fast. If we go back to the discovery of gold, at that time, the power production in South Africa is estimated to have been around, electricity production was around 300 kilowatts. That was electricity. Most of the power came from either human power, animal power, cattle. You know, people used cattle, you know, trekking and all those things as a source of power. There was no, electricity didn't play much of a role. Now, if you go back to your own family, I don't know where your ancestors were, but mine were living in mud huts in the Eastern Cape without electricity. Their source of energy was wood. There was no refrigeration. Refrigeration is a new thing that we see today with the arrival of electricity. In 1908, we produced about 8 megawatts of production in South Africa. By 1923, that number had increased, but I can't recall it. By the Second World War, Eskom was a fully established company. As you know, we had produced, from the inspiring example of Dr. Hendrik van der Bijl, men who were leaders in the world of research and especially industrial research into electrical power, men such as Dr. Basil Schonland, who graduated from Cambridge University to come and lead the establishment of research within Eskom. By the time the Second World War arrived, Eskom was large enough to be able to sprout other organizations, such as the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research that you know today. It actually grew out of Eskom practically. Dr. Basil Schonland was the founder of the CSIR. But in 1948, he too was removed from that when South African society, even within white society, there were divisions. Those who were not Africans were removed, and a favor was given to others. And he left for the United Kingdom, where he actually led the establishment of the atomic energy industry in that country. So the Great Britain owes us a lot in terms of its own energy industry. South African brains contributed there, and they still do today. In 1966, the reason I'm mentioning Dr. Basil Schonland is that he was appointed a chancellor of the university that I graduated from in 1989. He became a chancellor of the University of Southampton. Now, coming to our mission today and our goals in life, it has taken you a lot of hard work to come this far. You have completed your national diploma, you have completed your BTech, you probably have secured a job, others may be looking to secure a job. There may be others who came here at the start about 3 years ago who have not graduated, but all of us, we are involved in one common endeavor. Even if people have not graduated, they must not lose hope. Those who have graduated, they must gain inspiration. The kind of inspiration that they must gain, I'm going to say a few words about that. There is a thing called convention. convention can only take you so far. In other words, doing things the known way can only take you so far. I want to say to you, do not be afraid to do things differently. Do not be afraid to do things the wrong way if no one has tried it before. The reason I'm saying this is that in industry and science and in engineering, some of the greatest of innovations and inventions have been done by people who were told it will not work. Furthermore, I want to state that for engineers, I was having a conversation before we came over here, over tea there, and I asked the numbers of the university. I was told about 33,000. And I asked the proportion of engineers. They said about 8,500. But the biggest faculty is commercial faculty. And I was surprised that University of Technology should be dominated, or rather should have the largest component, commercial faculty. I think our mission here as graduates here is to change that, is to go out there in the community, to inspire more people to come to engineering, to increase the engineering component of the university, to come back and teach in this university, to tell others who we believe represent the best thinking in engineering, to come and teach at the Cape University, Cape Peninsula University of Technology. We must, going forward, make sure we participate in the alumni activities of this university. We must not allow that to be simply something that belongs to the marketing department. It must belong to you graduates. In every city in South Africa, in every town where there are Cape Peninsula University of Technology graduates abroad, all over the world, come together, set up an alumni association. Even if it's just 1, 2, or 3, set up a website, start mobilizing, make sure that this university is supported to grow the engineering component of our training here. In ESCOM, we're looking forward not only to seeing you there serving us as technicians, as engineers, as technologists. We're looking forward to you pushing to assume management positions. But by management positions, I don't mean a chase for high salaries. I mean a determined effort to make engineering matter in the running of our business and in the running of our society. When it comes to the running of our society, I'm coming to politics. Should be recalled that a man like Jan Smuts, he may have, he's one of the most prominent South Africans, next to Nelson Mandela, known in the history of the world. Prominent in the sense that in modern industrial South Africa, he is the man who, a trained scientist, became a politician and a statesman. Helped set up the United Nations, set up 2 of our biggest industrial establishments, ESCOM and the CSIR, over a period separated by more than 10 years. So he was a determined man, and you must go and read his biography. Learn the example, take the good example from him. But more than that, do not be afraid to enter politics. Do not stand on the sidelines, watch, complain. Go there in those municipalities, in those provinces, in those join political parties, seek to assume leading roles as engineers and demonstrate what it means to think in a disciplined way. Other people go there and make promises to people that they know they cannot be realized. You must make those promises that are realizable. In those few words, and with reference to those who are not here, who have not managed to graduate with us here, I want to say that those who have not managed to graduate, take the message that came from a man by the name of Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, who went to university, did not graduate, but in the end set up one of the world's leading innovation companies. Tell them about the example of Bill Gates, who did not manage to graduate, but in the end, who came to graduate and set up one of the world's leading software companies. Thank you very much.